This is the Simon Conway Show here on News Radio 1040 WHO. We are in studio with potential presidential candidate, Judge Roy Moore. Judge, thank you for bearing with us through the news, and welcome back, sir.
Well, thank you, Simon. Nice to be back with you.
All right, let's get on to some more of the issues. What are you, as president, if you decide to go down that road, if you became president and you could wave the magic wand on spending, what would you do?
I would start cutting wasteful spending, and everybody says that's been done, but nobody ever does it. There's wasteful spending across the board in all federal agencies. They know it needs to be cut, but special interest controls it, so they never cut it. I would do that. I would stop spending that's unauthorized under the Constitution. There's $4.35 billion education program, Race to the Top, which is a copy of No Child Left Behind by President Bush. Before anybody, points that out, I'll point it out.
Yep.
The federal government has no power over education under the Constitution. It's taking away the power of the individuals, the parents who have the only power over education. Now, the states have educational programs.
Yes.
We'll leave it to the states in competition, and we would have the best education system in the world.
So would you abolish the Department of Education?
I would like to do that, yes.
Okay. Well, me too,
Yes.
frankly. Okay. And what about this debt ceiling? Would you raise it?
No.
Again, very straightforward answer.
It's $14.26 trillion. Washington warned us in his farewell address that we should not ungenerously throw upon posterity the burden we ought to bear. We can't avoid the cuts and put this burden on our children and our grandchildren. We should address that problem. It's just like in a home. Most people get lost in this technical talk about budget deficits and the debt ceiling and everything. But if you had a mortgage on your home and you could keep raising the mortgage of your own will, that's what we're doing.
It is what we're doing.
No bank would give you an increased mortgage when you've overdrawn already, and we're going to pay the consequences.
What does this word ceiling actually mean anyway? We've apparently raised it 75 times since the 60s.
$14.26 trillion is more than all the debt accumulated under all former administrations and all former presidents between 1789, the beginning of Congress, and 2010.
I know. It's truly shocking. It is truly shocking. Let's talk about taxes. We've got a system that's so ridiculously complicated. We're taxed too heavily to start with. Part of that is because it's quite easy for the very rich to employ very expensive accountants to get around a lot of the tax. How would you change our tax system?
Well, I think I've studied both the fair tax and the flat tax. I think they've got some very good provisions in there that could change. We need to get away from the present progressive system that we have. It does not help. It only taxes the middle class, and it's a ridiculous system. Tax is a very big problem because everybody's got their hands into it. Yeah. And I think the Democrats and the Republicans have used this issue without addressing the real problem. You either tax the income coming in, according to the 16th Amendment of the United States Constitution, or a fair tax would tax the income going out. Now, we certainly don't want to be taxed coming in and going out. So we'd have to do away with the 16th Amendment.
Yeah, you'd have to abolish the 16th
But a flat
Amendment.
tax would be under the 16th Amendment, would control that tax for everyone in a rational manner. We could start with the flat tax and sincerely study a fair tax.
Doesn't have the obvious advantages of abolishing the IRS, though, the flat tax, which the fair tax does.
A fair tax would.
Yes.
Fair tax would.
Fair tax does. Automatic saving of $12 billion.
That's right. And I think fair tax would actually bring more money in because it's a tax on what people pay out. And they don't have to pay it if they don't spend it. I've
made that point exactly. I said, if one of your potential rivals, Mr. Donald Trump, wants to go out and buy a $1 million yacht, God bless him.
Bless him.
And and he can then go and pay the sales tax.
That's right.
And it's also a way that he wouldn't be able to avoid it.
Exactly. And not only would he not be able to avoid it, the illegal alien would not be able to avoid it.
That's right.
Everybody would pay the tax. The drug dealer would pay the tax.
Exactly right.
Everybody would pay a tax because the money is spent, and it would be collected by industries and businesses which would actually be paid in collection of that tax and would actually prosper and have more jobs for more people to be able to pay the tax that they spend. And it would not be a tax on income.
Well, I'm a big fan of the fair tax, I got to say to you.